explorers, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about Ceph and debugging and performance. And this is an interesting topic that I ran into this week pretty much, where we had some activity that wrote a lot of log files, which ended up to actually crashing our service because it wrote so much log that the hard drive just wasn't enough. So we couldn't switch out the logs in time before it ran out of hard drive space. It crashed the monitor and it was a generally bad time for everyone. So let's switch over to my screen here and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. So here we have a setup for a Ceph. So this is the Ceph configuration. So there is a bunch of configurations here, but I've searched for debug / here. And the reason is because there is a bunch of these debug auth, debug bdev, debug bluefs, debug bluestore, and so on. And I've looked a little bit in the code, and not all of those are specified, implemented, and so on. So some of them might be holders for functionality in the future, but many of them actually makes a difference. And the one that I'm going to highlight here, but they all works the same, is the debug RGV. If you have debug RGV turned on with the priority of 1/5, that means that for every call to the API, the Beast API, it will write 5 lines of log, which is a lot when you are transferring all your data over to object storage. So that wouldn't fly for us, and we have a bunch of clients that are connecting to that object storage. Of course, we can't log every request, and we can't log that amount of data every time. But for a test purpose or with something that has less traffic, this is a reasonable thing to do, to actually log a bunch of debugging information. So why 1/5 here? 1 means log file, 5 means memory. So if you have 1 set and it goes from 1 up to 20, then a log level of 1 will be written to file. So if you have this log level at 1, you will write a bunch of things to file. And this is a runtime flag, so you can change it while the actual cluster is running and where everything is. You don't need to restart any services or anything like that. So in order to make it write less to the logs, you can turn this to 0/5. So then it will not write all this information to log files. It will be generally faster because it doesn't need to do disk access every time it needs to write something to the object storage. So what is 5 then? Well, 5 is the log level it should buffer in memory. So if you have it set to 5, then the log messages that they have claimed to be from 1 to 5 in their session, it will be written to memory in a cache, and if the service crashes, that will be written to the log. So you have some debugging information here that always is stored in memory and is a little bit in limbo until you have a crash or a problem. Then you get more information in your log files. It will still write errors, warnings, and similar things to your log files. You will still get information there. Debugging information is to generally find issues with your service. Having some debug on some critical services could be a beneficial thing for you. And for a cluster that is just set up to run normal loads, then most of the things could have a little bit of debugging and write a bunch of stuff to the files. But if you have high load on your system, or if you are running performance benchmarks, then turning a bunch of these off or lowering the level could be a beneficial thing. So this was what I wanted to cover today. It's not a large topic, but it's important enough, at least for me, that I need to have a video on it. So I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you learned something today. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And I really hope to see you in the next video.